cycle goes on. As we realize that our sufferings and our happiness is caused by our own actions, we begin to be more careful about our lives. We become more ethical and careful to not hurt others, to do the best we can, and so we evolve morally. Now, the sum total of these actions, the results they come life after life. So the idea is we are born with this body, to these parents, and these are the major events in our life which happen to us: birth, marriage, illness, health, wealth, success, failure. Major events are determined by our past karma. There is a role of free will, but there's a lot of play of past karma also. It determines the parameters of our life. And this goes on. Cycles, life after life, life and birth. Birth and death, it goes on. Now, when does this end? This will go on until we evolve spiritually and realize our true nature. When we realize that we are not these sentient, these little beings, but we are one with Brahman, that our real nature is the absolute. When we realize that, the entire game comes to an end. Entire game comes to an end. There is no more karma. All past karma is burnt up. They say literally, Kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. The Mundaka Upanishad says, realizing the Supreme Brahman, the individual jiva, all the past karma is burnt up. Since past karma is burnt up, there will be no future births. So there is an escape from this cycle of birth and death. So this is the classic model. And there's one question which is raised. If all karma is burnt up, how does the enlightened person keep living? Remember, the presumption behind it is all the events in our life are happening because past karmas are giving results. A portion of that past karma is called prarabdha karma. Prarabdha literally means well begun. So that which has started giving results in this life, that portion of my total karma which has started giving results in this life is called prarabdha karma, the well begun karma, the started karma. As long as that portion lasts, I will live. This body will live. When that particular part of my karma is exhausted, this body dies. Then what happens? The stored up karma. There are other categories. Sanchita karma, agami karma. Those will start giving results. They become prarabdha and a new body comes. Now the question is this. If all karma is destroyed by enlightenment and you are free of birth and death, then in this life, how does the enlightened person go on living? Because we do see the masters, the spiritual masters, whom we presume they were enlightened, and they are going on living after their enlightenment. You see, by this logic, they should die immediately after enlightenment, because all the karma is burnt up, the prarabdha karma is gone, and so how can the body continue? Literally, the karma is the fuel for this body. So enlightenment should lead to instant death. Enlightenment would be tantamount to suicide, and not very attractive at all. You're going to die if you're enlightened. And not only that, it would also mean all the masters who are living and teaching, they are not fully enlightened. Question, you're still living, master. How come? So no, clearly enlightened beings continue to live. How is that possible if you have this kind of understanding of karma? So a kind of compromise was worked out. What was said was, the past karma is all destroyed, the stored up karma is destroyed, no new karma is generated for that being, for that individual being, because that individual being has lost its individuality, it's one with the universal, it is Brahman. But the karma which has started giving results, the prarabdha karma, that will continue until it's exhausted. So to that period, this body will live, the enlightened master will live, and as a blessing to society, will live as a Jivan Mukta, enlightened while living. So the possibility of Jivan Mukta, that is the topic. How is Jivan Mukta possible? This is the classic answer. Prarabdha karma continues. And the examples are well known. Potter's wheel, again the clay pot. So the potter's wheel, after the potter has done his business and gone, the wheel takes a couple of more turns, by the inertia and stops. There's a fan. If you switch it off, it still whirls around a couple of times before stopping. Another example given is the archer who's shooting arrows. So the archer has shot an arrow, 2 arrows in his hand, and has a quiver full of arrows, and suddenly decides, I will not shoot any more arrows. So he drops the arrows in his hand, he drops the quiver full of arrows and doesn't shoot any more arrows, but the arrow which is in flight, that he cannot do anything about. That will go and end at the target. Similarly, the karma which is released in actuality will continue to give results, and the enlightened person continues as a living enlightened being, which is great for us. So we get the teachings from enlightened masters. This is the compromise which is worked out. This is the party line, the traditional answer given to this question. If you never had this question, you wouldn't be interested in the answer. But if you are imbued, if you are immersed in the idea of karma as you are in India, this question will immediately come. So this is the answer. Shankaracharya says in this book, it's nonsense. He says this answer doesn't work and it's not necessary. Why? He says, the moment you realize you realize I am Brahman, there's only one existence, non-dual existence, existence, consciousness, bliss. There's the only reality. The world is an appearance. I am that reality. At that moment, all karma is gone. Not only that, he points out something interesting. What do you think about enlightenment? The way it is taught to us is that you are under karma. When you realize you are Brahman, you are free of karma. So you sort of expect that, I was under karma till now. Now I'm free of karma, it's gone. Shankaracharya says in this text, no, that's not enlightenment. When you realize that you are Brahman, the realization will be, I always was Brahman. I was never under karma. There is no such thing as karma. It was all like a dream. None of it was real. Always I have been Brahman, I am Brahman, and I will be Brahman. In fact, I have to use the language of time. Was, is, will be. But actually even time is an appearance. Space, time and causality, that is Maya. Yeah. Space, time and causality is Maya. So even karma and the law of karma is part of Maya. It's not real. It's not real. That's what you realize. You don't have to explain. So does he dismiss the entire thing? He says no. People in the world will ask, how is the enlightened person going on with the body? The enlightened person does not think that he is this body. The enlightened person does not think I am an enlightened person. There was Nisargadatta who was asked this question. He was a modern enlightened teacher. You know the book I Am That? Yeah, those are translations from his teachings. Somebody once said to him, you are a Brahmagyani, a knower of Brahman, was praising him. Master, you are a knower of Brahman. And he was a rough man. I never, it was well before my time, but I met a gentleman in California who had actually visited him. And I said, what was your first impression? He said, first impression was he was a very rough man. He would scold. So, you are a knower of Brahman, Master. And he says, what? You are insulting me. You're insulting me. How is this an insult? You're an enlightened being. This is the highest praise one can give. You are a knower of Brahman. He said, no, I'm not a knower of Brahman. I am Brahman. Knower of Brahman still means I am an individual who knows Brahman. No. That's not how an enlightened master sees the truth. I am Brahman, you are Brahman too, and everybody else is. It's just that you don't see it. Only difference is I see it. If you want to call me an enlightened being, you can. But the enlightened being does not think of himself or herself in that way. I am Brahman. So, Shankaracharya says this whole idea of karma and becoming free from karma, it's all good. It's all part of that explanatory mechanism. Superimposition, desuperimposition. I've introduced an elephant to help you solve the problem. Then I'll withdraw the elephant also. Don't take this law of karma seriously too. Don't take causality seriously. Don't take time and space seriously. There is only one reality behind all this. But until that time, space, causality, all of them hold sway, and you would do well to abide by those until you get until you realize what we truly are. And even after realization, notice that the enlightened beings live among us and they uphold all the rules and ethics and laws of society and religion to the best of their ability. They become standards of perfection for the rest of us. They naturally do what we try to practice. All right. So that was